Now, chiefs in the Savannah region have finally been forced to the table to sit with leadership of the youth, as all 8 accused were granted bail yesterday by the Tamale Circuit Court. The youth under the leadership of Gonja Land Youth Association have been invited by the Gonja Traditional Council for a meeting this week for the way forward on current happenings in Bupe, among others. This comes on the back of Chief of Bupe, Abdullahi Jenapor II, annulling the appointment of Ibrahim Musa Bari as leader of the Fulani community in Mande, a suburb of Bupe, in the central Gonja district of the Savannah region. Bupewura Jenapor, who made the announcement during a news briefing at his palace in Bupe, also condemned the youth for going behind the committee to vandalize people's properties in an attempt to halt the process.
Based on the recommendation and roadmap from the committees established to ensure peace in Bupe, I, Bupewura Jenapor, wish to state unequivocally that the earlier appointment of Ibrahim Musa Buri as the Fulani leader in Mande is annulled and stands reversed. Meanwhile, a new Mande chief in the name of one Abdullah Alassane has since been skinned and has taken fully in charge of the suburb called Mande.
Isaac Nonya is JoyNews Savannah region correspondent, and he joins us to take us through the latest on the ground. Ike, what's the latest on this issue?
Well, on the ground here in Savannah region, we just received information that the youth under the leadership of Gonjala Youth Association have been asked to meet the Gonja Traditional Council in the meeting somewhere this week, 24th thereabout. This was the same meeting that the youth were told somewhere last month were seeking to have with the chiefs who form all the paramountcies in the region. But that was not possible. And we believed with the tension around, let's say, three of the major towns like Busunu, Damago, and then Bupe, the chiefs had no option than to sit down with the leadership under the Gonja Land Youth Association and then to agree with them the way forward. Remember what happened at Bupe was a similar thing. The youth in Bupe felt that they needed to be engaged by the Bupewura Abdullahi Jenapor II. And that actually happened under the committee led by the DASEC over there. But the other issue that did not go down with the chiefs, one major one, which is the disturbances before the annulment of the Fulani chief, and then the implementation of some of the recommendations. So on our way out of Bupe, we realized that some of the paramount chiefs, notably the Bola chief and that of Bembi, including other paramount chiefs, were on their way to Bupe to solidarize with him. And I believe it was out of that meeting that this invitation extended to the youth was possible. So we are told that 24th of this month, the youth, led by the Gonja Land Youth Association, will be sitting with all the paramount chiefs and the Gonja Traditional Council to have a proper assessment of the case and then what to do and the way forward. Because we are told that after Bupe, 2 other paramount chiefs will be next on the list, because the issue, as we said yesterday, the Mande chieftain's issue is just the trigger, but there are so many other underlying causes of the disturbances that the youth think that they need to be listened to and to also be part of the solution to the problems in the Savannah region.
Interesting. What have the youth also been saying after this invitation was extended to them?
The youth thought that having taken some of them to the police, the court, it's not just 1 or 2 people. It's the entirety of the region. So if the way forward is to listen to them, they should allow the youth to come out and let them engage each other and to chat a way forward. Until that, those who were put before court is only going to exacerbate the case, the situation on the ground. And I think that was one of the reasons that we are told the counsel for the accused, and one of them, and then the president of the Gonja Land Youth Association, one lawyer, who stood in surety for the accused to be bailed yesterday. So I think the chief have listened to the cry of the youth to allow them to meet leadership, to meet them, and then for them to all to give them a listening ear, so that they will further put their reasons that what is happening, so that together they can have a peaceful environment in the region.
So after that announcement, how is the place like this morning?
Well, the three police stations, Damago, Bupe, and Busunu, that was where the youth tried to have their way in to get their police out. But once they are not more with them and they are in court, and possibly now in Bupe, the place come. But we can say that as we speak, all those who were accused, who were before court yesterday, are residing in Bupe. So there's still some kind of relative suspicion between the police and then the accused person, and then the youth and then the palace of Bupe. And I know one funny other aspect is that, it's not just, like I rightly said, it's not just between the 8 accused persons and then the Bupe Ura. It's the youth over there, and then the youth led by the leadership of Gonjala Youth Association that seems to have problem, disagreement with certain things that are happening over there. And going under the Gonjala Traditional Council, the acting vice president, who happened to be the acting president of the Gonjala Traditional Council, also happened to be the Bupe Ura, Abdullah Jinapo II. He's going to chair the meeting, so we don't know how the youth are going to react. They have not given their consent yet whether they will go for the meeting or they won't go. So we're waiting to see whether the youth will go and sit under the leadership of the same man they have a problem with based on certain decision he has taken, or they will not go. But residents think that this is a good opportunity for the leadership to go and then put their case before the House and also listen to what the House will say so that they can take it from there.
All right. I am grateful. Isaac Noya is our Savannah regional correspondent. We've also been joined by the man at the center of the development, Ibrahim Musa Bari, on the telephone. I'm very grateful that you could join us. How are you handling the situation since it sort of revolves around your leadership?
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to your viewers and also listeners. In fact, it's something very unfortunate and which is supposed to have happened. The leadership are still calling for calm for both parties, but we want to acknowledge the issue at Bupe is not the youth of Bupe against the Fulanis. It's about things within the communication between the youth and the leadership of the Gonjala, or the leader of the Bupe. I think those are the communities that did not go well with the youth and the leaders. So we, as the leaders of the Fulanis in Ghana, I think we have a very cordial relationship between us from time immemorial, because Gonjals and Fulanis have lived centuries before today. It's not just yesterday that Fulanis and Gonjals were living together. So all that we are calling as leaders of the Fulanis is that calm should be restored, and the Fulanis should stay calm. We are not fighting with the Gonja youth. I think there is miscommunication somewhere that agitated this. I don't think it is because of the scheming of the mandate chief, because traditionally every community has a leader. Just like even other Zongo communities, we have Goja chief, we have Hausa chief, we have Frafra chief, we have Dagoma chief, in all communities across this country. And I don't think the meeting of our scheming of a Fulani chief and Malay would have caused an havoc or disturbance. I think there is some lack of communication somewhere which needs to be addressed. And then we, the leaders, are ready to sit on round table and see the best. Because we have been together, we have been engaging the Fulanis and the Fulbe and the Gonja youth have been engaging. We have been engaging in a sense of coordination, how we should migrate others that are in the interland, how they will migrate to the urban areas, the education, the other civil issues, how we could come together and live together, which we have been living together. So we pray that this issue should bring us more together than before. Already USA has been playing a vital role how should bring the Gojos and the Fulani together, which we have done to a T. That's what I say. It's unfortunate this thing just popped up now, and I believe the account is enough to improve. So we are ready to come together around table and then see how best we can still live better than before.
So I get the impression that you accept the annulment of your appointment as the chief and accept the new appointment that has been made in the person of, and a new chief to replace you as the chief of the Fulani Monday, right?
Listen, I think the annulment, if that would be peace, let's annul the chief that have been in, and then see the best person that they, the youth, think they can work with in the community. I think that is for me personally, not about the leadership of all Fulani. Personally, anything that we should do that could bring peace within the community and bring development, because his intention that we knew is to improve the development of that community. That is why he gave a vast land that the Fulani or other individuals can come there and buy and build. But there is a rumors going on that he has dashed the land to the Fulani. That is not true. What he always gives to the Fulani is about 4 acres land so that we should come and build an education facility like the vocational and other things, because of he saw the handicap led our education. That is what he gave to us. But the other land, before he became the chief, was the land that he asked anybody to come and buy, so that development will come to Bupe. And that is what I think maybe the communication did not go well with him and the other individuals of the youth.
Grateful, sir, that you could join us this morning. And that's the former leader there who says that if the reversal of his appointment is to bring peace, he's okay with it. Now, moving on to other stories. Government is scheduled to meet leadership of the Individual Bondholders Forum today at the Finance Ministry. It follows a petition to the minister for members to be excluded from the government's domestic debt exchange program. The group says the program, if not reversed, will be extremely catastrophic for its members and others who depend on it.
When you are broke, do you spend more or you spend less?
You spend less.
But this is the only government that does the reverse, and you are not America. America can do that because they are never broke. They are the ones printing the dollar. You don't print the dollar, so you will be broke. Our government is increasing its expenditure by practically 40%. We are adding 54 billion to it. So think about it. How much is government saying that is on the table? 138 billion, right?
Yeah.
They'll say 137.5 billion.
Yeah.
So if government alone said that, look, for this year, I'm not even going to increase any expenditure, it means that you can save 54 billion. I'm going to spend my life just like I spent in 2022.
Last year.
When you spent your life in 2022, did we die?
No.
Are we not here? So you can't do that, but now you want to increase by 40%. It's like the highest ever. Then you come to compensation. You break it down. The compensation, the salaries.
Salaries, yeah.
It's gone up 17%. But remember that these things actually, when you look at the current one, you are past 300% from the time they came into office.
Yeah.
What are you increasing this 17% for when you are broke? Look at interest payments. These domestic interest payments, the increment in it that was budgeted for is only 1.2 billion. So what is the crime? In fact, it's actually a reduction. The plan for it is a reduction, minus 4%. So with that minus 4%, you can still survive and even pay every local bondholder. Not even individual, everybody. So if you take out just the individuals from inside, you take our coupon portion out of it, it's also about some 1.something billion, just about this. Plus the entire portion that is maturing, combined, you get about 6.6 billion. Other expenditure, you have increased your other expenditure by 18 billion. because you have provided 26 billion. Most of it are going for energy sector shortfalls. Guess what? That has to do with the power sector. You take a company like ECG. ECG is losing about 3 to 4 billion cedis every year. It just until recently that we've really had a good MD. What's his name? The gentleman's name? Samuel Dubik Mahama. Yeah. And he's trying to reform the place. Yeah. If you're appointing people over the right properly, on meritocracy, and not just appointing party para chicks, would have saved money and wouldn't have to be spending 24 billion.
Let's wrap it up, Senor.
For waste.
I see good.
But government, I beg in the name of God, we haven't done you any crime. All we did for you was to trust you. So Exodus chapter 5 verse 1. Let my people go.
So that was Senor Hosi, who's one of the leaders of the Individual Bondholders Forum, speaking to my colleague Evan Smith on the PM Express there. In the studio with me is a bondholder, Charles Ahin, who says government's decision to include individual bondholders will affect not only him, but the 3 disabled persons under his care and their mother, who is also disabled. That's already, it's a very sad one. Charles, good morning and thanks for joining us. Now, I understand that you've invested every peswa that you have into bonds, and that the livelihood of these kids and the mother depend on that. But you have the story. Let us understand, how was it like? How was it looking like for you, and what's staring at you?
No, I felt very bad, and I said, we are dead, because an individual, someone who has some money and also cater for people who are disabled. I have 3 disabled people with their mother, who is also a disabled, that I'm taking care of them at Bujumbura. Their father died, and we have to acquire, we have to sell a property. And quickly, when we sold this property, I think that the best place that I can put it is in savings or a government bond, so that anytime they are looking for it, I can take the interest and then give it to them. One of them, a disabled person, is going to school at Legon. I send him her there. Another person is also trying to do DJ, and I also take care of him, plus their mother, who also cannot work. So these monies are supposed to be used in taking care of them, including my own money for my children who are also in their universities. So I didn't know how come we individual bondholders has to be included. Because if we are included, it means that our livelihood is cut off completely. Apparently, this bond is supposed to mature this very month, this very year.
Okay.
To be able.
The bond that you bought.
Yes, to be mature this very year. To enable me use the proceeds to do all this to help them continue their living. And here comes the government telling us that it's not going to give it to us in 2, 3 years, 5 years, 15 years. It means that they will have to just die. They have to die because they would not survive.
Wow. How much did you invest?
I have 50,000. They also have, I have 500,000. They also have 500,000.
Wow. So 1 million cedis locked up in the bond. Yes. How do you plan to fend for them if government should go ahead with
No,
the plan?
I'm going to take all of them to if it is the Parliament House or wherever, so they see what to do.
Wow.
Yes, I can't again. As of now, I have made a structure at the Bujumbura camp where I have kept them. I have not finished even doing that structure. And they are there. The government can go with me. I'll show their pictures. And you yourself, you can understand where I'm coming from. And you know, this thing is really causing, going to disturb people. It's going to harm the nation also. Because where we have our trust, where else can we go?
So you intend to carry these children and their mother to the Parliament House just to make your point?
How they will take care of them, and they should do that.
Really?
Yes.
So at this present moment, how do you care for them?
As at now, I don't have much in my account because I know this year is coming. So as at now, they've called several times, said, but I have refused to tell them what has happened. I always say, oh, wait. But then their mother is aware of this.
So assuming this month, nothing comes in by the end of the month,
they will have to stop the school and wait because I need to pay their school fees before they enter. I need to pay my children also fees at the university and buy items for them. They all have to hold on for some time.
So one is in Legon.
My children, the cripple one is in Legon.
One is in Legon.
Doing communication. He cannot go, so he do distance.
Oh,
so I've acquired some computer for her, and he does it at home.
Okay. So she has that opportunity.
Yes.
How much?
The other one is also at one of the radio station as DJ.
Okay.
He just graduated and he wanted a place even to do his national internship. But because of movement, he is at home at the moment.
So how much in school fees does the one in Legon pay?
Now they are supposed to pay almost 3,500.
Okay.
Yes, for fees alone. And I'm sure there's some arrears, but then that's what they are supposed to pay, 3,500, 2,000.
Okay. So, I mean, just to drum home the impact of what's going to happen on their livelihood, in a month, what's like the expenditure budget for these people?
Yes, in the month, I'm sure they will, each person will spend no less than 5,000.
In a month?
In a month, apart from the school, daily, at least in a month, we can spend almost 1,500.
Okay.
In a month, yes.
Oh, okay. For the three of them.
Yeah. No, for the three of them.
For the three of them.
Yes.
So in a month,
yes,
each person is likely to spend like 500 cedis.
Yes.
In a month.
Yes.
Okay. On feeding.
On feeding. Yeah.
Okay. So today, leadership of the Individual Bondholders Forum are meeting with government at the Finance Ministry. What do you expect your leaders to do?
I'm expecting them to not include individual bondholders because they are really doing the government a good service.
You mean the individual bondholders?
Yes, they are doing government a good service.
Okay.
It's never a crime. It is a good service because, you see, if you don't give the money to the government, then what else? What do? Why does the government always have to go for external money to do something? Over here, people are giving you money to use, so that just give them the interest. And that alone, other government, other people are looking for such opportunity. They are not getting. But we trusted you, we gave it to you. Are we not doing something good that you can appreciate? What surprises me is that even before we want to take this, the government has come out that individual bondholders are not supposed to be touched, which was a good suggestion. It's something that I really understood them. Because for an individual, your lifespan is limited. You can die. You are not a going concern. Anything can happen to you today, tomorrow. So then what is it? Okay. But if it's an organization which is a going concern, then that one you can sit down with them, fill with them, and know that you is not an individual. If this one is not there, the company still continues. So okay. So why somebody, an individual, who can just
pass out
tomorrow or something?
Okay. So many people have been suggesting what government can do to get us through this problem of restructuring our debt so we can secure a program with the IMF. With your personal situation, what would you tell government to do in this, instance or this time of trying to restructure our debt so we can secure a program with the IMF to put back the economy on its right path?
It's very simple.
Okay.
There are so many areas that we can cut costs. I am not a politician. I don't go to politics. I don't do anything. I am talking as a layman. We are not asking the government that, please do everything. Do what you can. And then we will continue those processes as we go on. But if you want to do everything, then some of these things are going to happen. Cut certain costs that you think that this thing, I can do it without harming anyone. Then we could go.
Okay.
Because for even at times, I believe that with this particular situation, that helps individuals and a country to learn how to overcome on their own.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So your bank asked you to come and sign. I'm told banks were sending messages to individuals.
Yes.
So your bank sent it to you.
My bank sent my message, and I didn't even know. My bank sent me a message, and I said, what is happening? I just asked, what is happening? I just came. I even didn't know that whether bonds or savings or T-bill. My concern is that I am saving it at what? At what? At a proper place, at a place that has security, so that at the end of the day, take a little, give me interest and also use it. So keep it. So I don't know how now.
Why you didn't ask them to use it to buy bonds?
We are not so much interested whether it's bonds, whether it's T-bill. What we want is that they will come and tell you that we want to invest. These are the areas. This is the then issue it to us. I said, okay, then do it. If it is bond, you do it in bond. So far as it is government and I can get it when I need it. That's that.
So they explained to you before
They explain.
buying
They
the
will
bonds
explain.
for you.
They explain.
Okay.
But I don't bonds. Nothing of this sort has happened to bonds before, and no one expects, and it shouldn't happen at all to an individual.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So if the president is watching us now, what will be your message to the president? I want you to look in the eyes of the president and tell him what you want him to hear from you.
He should consider individuals and
so I want you to address the president. So
yes.
Look into the camera, into his face.
Yeah, so Mr. President Anado, please consider individuals, because individuals are, God's creation. And that is the reason why you are even doing this, what do we call them? The church.
National Cathedral.
The National Cathedral, where if you build cathedral to look after human being and make sure that human beings are well survived and serve God, and you have that spirit, then you don't have to let any human body suffer or perish. Don't let to have any individual suffer from any anything.
All right.
So
okay, Charles Ahin.
Eliminate us from exempt us. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful that you could join us.
I'm also grateful.
So Charles Ahin is an individual bond holder who is calling on the president and by extension government to exempt individual bondholders from the domestic debt exchange program. Now, moving on to other stories, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has announced that all students in senior high schools in Ghana would be provided with tablets to aid their academic work. He said this at the 74th New Year School at the University of Ghana in Accra, Legon. Hano Dame has details.
We've implemented free Wi-Fi in our senior high schools, and one of the things that I'm very excited for this year, the Minister of Education has told me that we are on course this year to provide all high school students in Ghana with tablets which are loaded with textbooks on them for their studies. That is very, very a game-changing development, if you call it. And so we will have past questions and all of that preloaded on these tablets that will be distributed to all. And I pray that it to pass this year. But they are fully on course to do that.
Now, access to clean drinking water in Ghana has improved, but many communities are still in need of clean water sources. 15-year-old Stephen Boache has developed a prototype system to help households purify their water using basic materials. He is one of the ambassadors for the Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize G-STEP initiative, which aims to equip junior high students with practical STEM skills to solve societal problems. Joy Prime's Lois Adeyemi has more in the following report.
Bensiri, a village in the district of the Ashanti region, is one of many without potable water in Ghanaian villages. Residents here rely on a dirty and brownish water source for domestic use. Sadly, they also share the same water source with cattle and drink without any form of treatment. This has led to an increase in waterborne diseases in the community.
The problem that I identified in my community is diseases outbreak as a result of intake of unclean water. They drink with animals like cows.
But 15-year-old Stephen Boache, who hails from this village, is determined to make a difference. He has developed a water purification system that uses basic materials and 6 processes to remove dirt and pollutants from the water.
This is a water purifier. I'll connect my device. I'm going to add dirty water. I wait for some time so that the process can take place. One is having the filter paper and the foams and a net which traps the suspended particles. And from that, the other container also have an aqua tap and a charcoal, which decreases the rate of maybe when the water is having maybe a high acidity. The last container will have the filtrate, and if you want it to be cooled, you just switch on this so that you wait for some time, and after that you just take it.
Stephen is one of the ambassadors for the Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize, G-STEP, an initiative put together by the Dream Oval Foundation to equip junior high school students with practical STEM skills to solve societal problems.
So this prototype is going to help them when it is being in the large scale. It's going to help them purify a lot of water for the whole community.
According to UNICEF Ghana, about 11% of the population still drinks from surface water and other unsafe sources. But Stephen is hopeful that his prototype, if given the needed support, will reduce waterborne diseases in his community. Bensiri. Lois Adeyemi's report for Joy Prime.
Now, the multimedia group, we launched the classroom project over a year ago as a solution to 2 of the hundreds of weak school structures dotted across the country. The first project, situated at Breman Jamra in the Esikuma Odobing Brakwa district of the Central Region, is currently at the roofing stage and requires more funds for completion. The second project is in Tolong in the Northern Region, with construction yet to start. Over 700 school children will benefit from the project when completed. My colleague Richard Kojo visited the Breman Jamra DA Basic School and sent in this report.
So we are currently at Breman Jamra DA Basic School, and this is where 6 years ago the unfortunate occurrence where 6 kindergarten school pupils were killed. I mean, the building they called classroom collapsed on them and their lives were snuffed out. 6 years on, that building has been completed. But there is another building here that is a death trap. The children have their hearts in their mouth whenever they enter this building. So look at the footings of this building. All of these things are removing gradually. They are being removed and the building shakes visibly. Get here. This place shakes. As soon as you hit it slightly, then it shakes. It threatens to break away from the entire structure. So the kids do play. And unfortunately, if any of them should lean on this wall, then the unfortunate thing would happen. Now, when it rains, rain seeps through the roofing heavily, and so classes have to be disrupted. Academic activities have to come to a halt. The school pupils have been telling us that they feel unsafe. They are afraid for their lives whenever it rains, because when it rains, the entire building shakes very well, and they feel threatened. And they have the unfortunate occurrence 6 years ago on the back of their mind that something could happen. So what have you been learning today?
It is dangerous for us to learn in. When the rain enters the classroom will be very dirty here. So we don't want this class again. We want a new one. So we don't want this class, we want the other one there. We please them to help us this new building so that we can live comfortably in that new room.
Because when it is raining, our ceiling will be removing. The water will be coming inside this room, so we don't want this class again. We want a new one. We feel shaking. When the rain is falling, we feel shaking, we fear, so that the building will break in. So we want the government to build another school for us. We are telling them to come and help us to build the room, because we are begging them to come and help us to build the building.
Fortunately, the multimedia group decided to embark on a project and then build a classroom structure that could accommodate the kids. In fact, the kids are crammed in some of the classrooms, and it makes academic work very, very difficult. So this is the entire structure that multimedia has been working on, and it has gotten to the roof level, and we need your support. We need the support of the entire country. We cannot wait for any calamity to befall kids yet again in the name of accessing education. And that is why this project ought to be completed so that the kids can move in from the dilapidated structure they currently call the classroom into this new one. Get 60,000 Ghana cedis. The entire building would be completed and ready to be handed over to the school.
At the moment, we are at the roofing stage, and all we need is the roof members to come, and then the sheet will be on it. Then we'll do the ceiling joint, get the doors and the windows fixed. Then we come to a final stage where the tiling will come, and then also the jointing and pointing for this finishing will come. Then we are done. So at the moment, if I have to estimate, I would say we are like 70% done. We just left up at 30%. But the energy is not coming, and we need help to be able to rescue these innocent kids. Because some of us dedicated our time and energy and our knowledge, wisdom, and then this technology to come in and support. It costs me a lot, but it doesn't amount to human life. I mean, if I go to bed always getting scared that what if something happens to these kids? They will go like, they started but they couldn't complete it.
What is keeping you on?
Yes, that is what is giving me the energy to still try to push so that we can get this done and then hand it over to the community. Because these kids, look, the last time I was here, when we were on site, when it started raining, before I could say Jack, the kids, all of them came into the corridor just because they were scared that the roof of the structure could be lifted off.
How much are we talking about here?
Like I said, if I should do rough estimate, we need a little under 60,000 because you're talking about the woodworks for the roof itself. We need a sheet, we need the windows and the doors faced. You understand? And then workmanship, and then we need a ceiling or everything. That amount should be able to sort us out.
So I am appealing to you to help us, the multimedia group, to help with this project. Help us contribute your quota so that we will not be visited with any disaster. We will not come here to be reporting disasters, but we will be coming here to be reporting about the successes chalked by these students because they need to also study in environments like their peers, like their counterparts in other parts of the country. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kojo, Breman Jamra.
Now, for your support to complete the classroom project, send your donations to MTN Momo number 0593 03 8832 0593 038832. The account name is Multimedia Group Limited. For bank transfers, please send it to Access Bank Ghana Limited, account number 00901 010 54191 00901 010 54191, Castle Road Branch, Accra. The branch code is 009 and the SWIFT code is ABNGGHAC. ABNGGHAC. You may also call 0242 161570 for more enquiries. The classroom project is brought to you by the Star Ghana Foundation and the West Africa Civil Society Institute with funding from the Dutch Foreign Affairs Ministry. The classroom project promoting social justice through philanthropy. Now, the Africa Center for Retirement Research has criticized a 25% increase in monthly pensions, calling it inadequate. The announcement came from the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) in collaboration with the Pensions Regulatory Authority. The executive director of the center, Abdallah Mashoud, says they expected the pensions to be increased to meet the depreciated purchasing power of pensioners.
The Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) announced a 25% increase in monthly pensions for 2023. However, the Africa Center for Retirement Research has criticized the move, calling it inadequate. The executive director, Abdallah Mashoud, says they expected the pensions to be increased to meet the depreciated purchasing power of pensioners.
That SNIT, on average, pensioners lost 31% of their purchasing power in 2022. And clearly, the increment of 25% in pensions did not commensurate with the purchasing power lost. Hence, the 25% overall increment was inadequate. So if we are talking about pensioners losing 31.5% of their purchasing power in 2022, then we have an increment of 25%. You realize that we would have expected something much more close to the 31.5%, but we did not get that. Of course, so once 25% is falling short of 31.5%, those are bases to simply conclude that the increment was inadequate.
Mr. Mashoud also called for a review of the current formula of pension indexation. He said pension indexation currently widens the gap between the rich and the poor.
Distribution of pensions is concerned. The SNIT payroll has an estimated 8% of rich pensioners in the upper bound, controlling 30% of the total payouts, whereas we have about 64% of poor pensioners controlling just 36% of the purse. This is an indication that there is something fundamental wrong with the way we distribute pensions in this country. The depth of economic inequities is largely attributed to the weakness in the mode of indexation or the distribution of pension wealth. So we can all see the gap. If you have 30% of the total payout being controlled by just 8% of the rich pensioners in the upper bound, and we have about 64% of poor pensioners down there who are controlling just 36%. It's just telling us the depth of inequities in the distribution of pension wealth. It is instructive to know that the highest pension amount is not a social security assessment indicator. Once you begin to assess yourself based on the highest, trying to indicate that you are paying so much to the highest earning pensioner, you are only bolstening the economic gap that exists between the rich and the poor.
A report by Prince Kwame Kudoga.
Yes, we're watching News Desk here on the JoyNews channel. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with business. Stay with us.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Executive Director of the Southwestern Pacific International, Dr. Kainsen Pente, has called for realignment of the public sector procurement system to avoid infractions that result in the state losing huge revenue. This, he believes, will help the nation rake in more revenue.
Way forward, I'll still reference the recommendation that I made that there is a need for us to reconstruct the architecture of procurement in the public sector, where we have an enhanced form of what previously used to exist called the Ghana National Procurement Agency to now be referred to as a Ghana Government Procurement Organization, where they will run their own balance sheet and run their own payroll. And so therefore, all MMDs need to do their annual planning and then hand over their requirements to the GOPO to run their sourcing and procurement for them from end to end without any interference from the MMDs.
Right. And another issue also has to do with the procurement board. There have been a lot of concerns with respect to their effectiveness. Some are saying they failed, some are saying they are not effective, or some are even raising issues that it's the central government that is not playing its role well. From your experience, what do you think is the problem with respect to the procurement board?
We could make a conjecture based on the available information that is in the public domain by referencing some of the anti-corruption agencies' reports, annual report, the Auditor General's report that is published annually based on the work that they do, to be able to make some inference and arrive at a certain safe point where we can say that, yes, the board is doing its bit. The board is doing very well. If you look at the 2021 Auditor General's report, you realize that while procurement irregularities in 2020, the financial attributions to the irregularities or infractions were approximately 1 billion Ghana cedis. This figure dropped by about 60% in 2021 to about 590 million. So that is a significant improvement. But the problem there is that a significant amount of this particular financial attribution arising from the irregularity is associated with contract or contract inefficiencies or incompetent contracts.
Right, in other news, government has made the final presentation to its creditors in 20 developed countries to help fast-track the cancellation of the country's debts. This was done by Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori-Atta to the Paris Club of International Creditors. Here's more in this report.
The presentation was aimed at making a strong case to these 20 developed countries that made up the Paris Club of International Creditors that Ghana deserved a debt cancellation. That is, looking at the current state of the economy and what government intends to do with the reliefs. There were several scenarios that were presented to these creditors on why there's a need to fast-track the negotiations. Well, it looks like government succeeded in making a strong case for these debts to be cancelled. This has led to the Paris Club agreeing to set up a creditors committee, one of the significant steps towards the possibility of having Ghana's debts cancelled. Whilst Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta wished the process could have moved faster, the Paris Club sees the Creditors Committee as a significant move and a sign that it is open to cancelling Ghana's debt. Securing this deal from these creditors may also help fast-track Ghana's IMF program approval from the board before the end of the first quarter of this year. The IMF, again, is pushing the private international creditors to join the initiative and cancel Ghana's debts.
And that's it for this segment. The news continues after this break.
And that's our package for you this morning. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace. Do enjoy the rest of your morning and enjoy the rest of our programs as well. Good morning.